All right, almost wrapped up. Closing arguments in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial are due on Monday. Could be all wrapped up by Monday. Where do things stand right now? Let's go to Brian Claypool, a defense attorney. Brian, where do you think things stand right now? The prosecution's got sort of banged around this past week. Now talk that they're seeking out lesser charges. Where are you on this and where we stand?
Yeah, this has been a disaster for the prosecution. I mean, right before closing argument, now they want to ask for lesser charges. The bottom line is this, Neil. If the jury finds that Rittenhouse acted in self-defense, that's going to be the first question on the verdict form, then it doesn't matter about the lesser charges. And those charges are reckless homicide, like negligent homicide versus intentional murder. But again, if the jury says self-defense, then Rittenhouse is off on all of those charges. I think the prosecution really overcharged in this case, Neil. I don't think they did an adequate investigation of the shooting before issuing the indictment. This all along should have been a reckless homicide case and not intentional murder.
So there's also a difference between murder, manslaughter, and the degree to which Kyle Rittenhouse could be facing some prison time. Do you envision that?
I think that the jury is going to find that self-defense applied in all three of these shootings. Minimally, I think you're going to get a hung jury on one of the three victims, but I don't think you're going to get a guilty verdict on any of the three. Three quick reasons why. Let's nail them down real quick. I mean, with Gage Grosskreutz, I mean, seriously, that charge should have not even been brought, Neil. It's laughable. I mean, he was pointing a gun at Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse, in his mind, fears for his life, and he shoots. I mean, what's he going to do at that point? Play patty cake with Grosskreutz when he's pointing a gun at him? So he's going to get acquitted on that one. Rosenbaum, real quick, he allegedly threw a heavy bag that might have had a chain at Rittenhouse. There's evidence that this guy Zeminski's telling him, get him and kill him. Then you've got Drew Hernandez, independent witness, no bones to pick, says that Rosenbaum's lunging toward Rittenhouse when he shoots. I mean, that a jury could conceivably say, yes, self-defense, acquittal. And then real quick on the Huber case, he had a skateboard hit Rittenhouse in the head. That's on videotape. That's conceivably a deadly weapon, and he's grabbing for Rittenhouse's gun. I mean, that's self-defense too. So this isn't looking good for the prosecution.
All right. There's no chance of a mistrial right now. I mean, the defense had raised that as a possibility. I'm not sure it's at that stage now. It looks like it's going to go to the jury one way or the other. What do you think?
Well, typically, Neil, judges wait until the end of the trial to rule on a mistrial. So if the
could
defense...
Could it still happen then?
Yeah, it could still happen, but is it going to happen? No. I don't think in a million years this judge is going to grant a mistrial. He's going to let it go to the jury. I don't think that the alleged constitutional violation by the prosecution, remember it was that issue regarding you have a right to remain silent, and he kind of challenged that with Rittenhouse.
Right.
I don't think that was enough, Neil, to take this away from the jury. I think he's going to deny the request for mistrial.
What did you make of the criticism that Judge Bruce Schroeder has, endured? That he was too active, too eccentric, too pushy, and that his behavior to hear those who are sympathetic to the prosecution could come back to hurt him if, for example, the prosecution were to push for, an appeal.
Yeah, Neil, I'm glad you asked that question because I've done a lot of big jury trials, and any seasoned trial lawyer will tell you that the behavior of this judge is not unusual. He's running a courtroom. I mean, I've been screamed at, yelled at by judges. In fact, years ago, Neil, here's a quick story for you. Years ago, I had a judge threaten to hold me in contempt of court in front of the jury for calling him sir instead of your honor. I mean, that's how bad that case was for me. So look, this is not unusual behavior. And look at why the judge was picking on the prosecution. It was regarding that issue of challenging Rittenhouse's Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I mean, the judge had every right to chastise the prosecutor. At the end of the day, if you want to try serious cases like this with profound impact, then you've got to have thick skin. So I don't think this judge has done anything wrong. But it's sadly enough, he's getting death threats. I don't know if you heard about it.
Right.
He's being threatened. Yeah, and you know, in Los Angeles, where I'm based, I mean, there's Hollywood actors that are posting about this case. They're literally posting that Rittenhouse has murdered two people and injured one. But Neil, this argument that Rittenhouse went to this location in Kenosha to kill people, there's no evidence of that. There's been no testimony that Rittenhouse's goal was to go somewhere and kill people, and that's not the legal standard. People need to grasp that. The legal standard is at the moment he's shooting, did Rittenhouse reasonably fear for his own life? That's the sole issue.
And as you often remind me, my legal eagle, all it takes is one juror to have his or her doubts, right?
Exactly. One juror creates a hung jury. Exactly.
Got it. All right, Brian Claypool, thank you very much. Again, closing arguments on Monday. By the way, the governor of Wisconsin, to be abundantly cautious, has called 500 National Guardsmen out just in case on the day this verdict is announced. We'll keep you posted on that. Also keeping you posted on developments in